What is Chainlink? Chainlink is an oracle. You might ask yourself, what is an oracle? It's not the person that bends a spoon in the first Matrix. An oracle is going to connect off-chain data with on-chain data. So if you have something off-chain, like Travis Kelce scored 2 touchdowns, but I have an NFL NFT and it needs that off-chain data to come on-chain, that's where you're going to see an oracle like Chainlink come into play. And I think as we merge real-world assets with on-chain activity, we're going to see more and more Chainlink activity. And with Bitcoin pumping, Chainlink is feeling great today, folks. Chainlink is now up. If we refresh, we're up about 10% today, folks. Chainlink is pumping. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Chainlink. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about Michael Saylor. And we have a very special guest in the corner today, folks.
Yeah, hey, I'm back. I'm back in the small little box pushing the buttons. I'm still rearranging them. Might still push some of the wrong ones, but looking forward to it.
Well, let's see if you can hit the right one, and let's roll that intro.
Right.
Did he? He already hit the wrong one, folks.
I already hit the wrong one. They moved the intro button on me. I don't even know where it is.
We'll figure it out, folks. This is Discover Crypto.
I don't have it. Yeah,
no, we don't have it. You know what? You want to just start the show? You know what? It was a good thing we started with the monologue, isn't it? All right, folks. Well, this is live tubing. Things like this are going to happen. All right. Well, crypto markets are pumping, folks. We have Bitcoin moving in a serious way. It is up 2.6% today. But the alts are the real star of the show today. You can see ETH also, really not moving too much. It's up 2.8%. But then as we start going a little bit further down, you're going to start seeing some exciting movement. It starts with Dogecoin, oddly enough. Dogecoin up 5.8%. Then we have Polygon. Polygon is up 7.4%. Chainlink is cooled off a little bit. It was up 10%. Chainlink is up 9%. What's the entire crypto market doing? The entire crypto market is up 2.4% today. And the 24-hour volume, $56 billion, which is really good for Monday, folks, because this is most of the data in American time is going to be mostly Sunday night. For Sunday night to come off, and we're at 56 billion. It's looking really good. And gas is way up. It is now 36 gwei, but still relatively cheap. I moved some ape coin around today. All right, if we keep going down, we got some more exciting movement. So we got Chainlink up 9%. Below that, Polkadot up 4.5%. And we keep scrolling. Really not too much, but now it's time to look at the top gainers. TJ, is any of your coins going to be in the top gainers?
Yeah, I had a lot of my coins at least over the weekend that were in the top gainers. I was feeling really good. I love Chainlink. I've always loved Solana. I've been a holder of Solana from $5, so seeing that run a little bit was fun.
Nice.
I sold some last cycle, didn't sell it all, watched it go all the way back down. So seeing it run back up is always fun. So yeah. And of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, always love to see that.
And then the boring coins. All right. Well, speaking of running up, what are the coins that are running up more than any coin in the world, at least in the top 100? We don't go to the micro caps here. All right. We have Injective leading the way. Injective is up 15%. Let me zoom out a little bit. Injective up 15%. Phantom up 11.5%. Aave up 10%. Aave uses a lot of Chainlink, folks. Aave uses it a lot for their DeFi protocol. Then we have Thorchain up 9.3%. A lot of people got to move those stolen funds. I'm kidding. It's used for normal purposes as well. Then we have Mutable X up 8%. Neo up 7.8%. Polygon. Any of these? I know you like Polygon. Any of these other ones up on the top really screaming at you here?
Yeah, I like a lot of those. Let's see. I like INJ. I like Aave. Phantom is an interesting one. Chainlink, obviously, we hold a lot of. Rune, we've talked a lot of on this channel. So Rune, Thorchain, always doing something interesting as far as actual tech. But Chainlink, big mover. All of those things. It's nice to see. Look at those weeklies. Seeing some 30s, some 20s.
Yes.
That's nice.
That's what I really like seeing. If we look at the top weekly gainer here, it looks like it is Chainlink followed by Injective. Chainlink up 34%. I bought live, I believe last week. I joked like, guys, I'm only going to buy 5. And you're probably like thinking like, oh, I bet DZ really bought 50. I bet he bought 100. I literally bought 5, unfortunately. When I come into a new position into a coin, that's when I'm more likely to, put in a larger chunk of change. I've been in Chainlink for, I guess, going on almost 4 years or so. So I'm in a DCA strategy. I actually think I have less Chainlink tokens now than I did when it was $2. I'm not sure. The numbers are pretty close. But now it's time to look at the biggest losers. But I wasn't going to, I don't want to segue into this. We do have a new guest. All right, before, off of the biggest winners, we're going to segue into Kelly here. Kelly, where were you? People were wondering, you weren't here for the first 5 minutes of the show. Were you leverage trading?
I was leverage trading some education to the community out there down in the lab, and I thought I was going to be on VMix, and Tim came down, so I came running up here with no chart, so we're doing it live, baby.
Hey, we're doing it live. So we have a poll question up, and we really like you to participate. If you're watching live, do you own Chainlink? Kelly, do you own Chainlink?
Absolutely, I own Chainlink.
Okay.
It's going to be, it's one of the most important assets, I think, in the crypto space. Even if it feels like it's a sleeper for a long time, remember, Bill Noble says it regularly. The longer the base, the higher in the space. This has been creating a base for over a year and a half. I think 560 days or something. It's been ranging sideways. So the fact that it's pushing higher and how tight it is, tied in with the community and the crypto ecosystem, it is a absolute long-term hold.
What's that saying again? Longer the base, the what?
Higher the space.
Longer the base, the higher space. Well, let's quote Ace of Base. Let's see a sign here. I see a sign of the biggest crypto coins that are losing value right now. And there's a sign that DZ's coin is not going to be in there, folks. Today, we're breaking the streak. I can feel it. I can feel it. All right, the biggest loser of the day is DZ's coin. It's Rollbit. Rollbit is down 3% today. That's fine. That's fine. I took a little profit when it was higher. But Rollbit is down 3%. Aptos is down 2.2%. Bitcoin SV finally cooling off, folks. You remember that was the big runner for last week. You see it's still up 25%. And then ApeCoin is down 1%. I actually just restaked my ape, and I'm almost at 2,000. So my ape story is I was airdropped 2,000 for free. I didn't have to do anything except hold the mutant. I immediately sold half and put it into ETH, and then I've been staking the remaining half. And now I've almost staked my way back up to 2,000. So I feel pretty good. I'm at like 1932. Once you're at 2,000, you get no additional ape reward. So I'm just going to stop at 2. Then we have KuCoin. KuCoin shares are down 0.6%. Trust Wallet, Toncoin. And then we go into the stable coins there. So it's a pretty positive market, but Rollbit is still down a bit. What's your gambling ecosystem thesis here, TJ? Probably it's been a while since TJ. We got to get your hot takes here. Are you bullish or bearish on it?
I'll say it depends on where you are. So long term, I do like United States. I do think they're going to be cracking down on all that stuff. Gambling on the internet is always been highly regulated here. It is trending towards opening up long term, going more global. Even with, if you look at FanDuel and DraftKings, they had to fight a lot to get approval, but they have. So I do think over time those things could do well. But I feel like it's almost. This is kind of a strange comparison. It's because they're not the same, but it's almost fits like a privacy coin where they have a place. There will always be a market for it. There will always be some users and volume there, but it's always going to be a battle with regulators. So
yeah, no, when it's a battle with regulators, VC money dries up. And so similar with Monero and the privacy coins, okay, I can see a similar thing playing out. So maybe the DGen community can really rally together and pump something up, but without that VC pump, it's just going to be a little bit more difficult. All right, let's get into the show. I do want to say, check out Tim Warren's latest video on Ben Cowan. We kind of brainstorm, and he brings up a good thesis on one thing that Ben Cowan got right. Now, we agree with 99% of what he says, but this one particular area, maybe he's not looking at the full story there. So I highly recommend checking out that video. It's really, really good. You're going to want to see that. All right, let's get into the Link story here. Link price pumps 40% in 3 days. Why the bulls are not done yet. So in the past few days, it had a strong rally against the US dollar, formed a base above the $7 level before the bulls stepped in. There's a major pump above $7.50 and the $8 resistance levels in the past 3 days. You can see it's gained of 40%. Just look at that huge wick to the upside. If there is a fresh increase, the price may face resistance near $11.20. First major resistance is near the $12 zone. If we break above $12, if Chainlink goes above $12, then we have a steady increase towards $12.20 and $12.50. And then the next major resistance past 12 is going to be $13.20, which is above the price could test above $15. Are the dips limited in Link? Here's the technical indicators. The MACD is gaining momentum. RSA is now above the 50, so that's a little high there. Major support $10 and $9. Major resistance $11.20 and $12. So are the dips in? We have some really good data, and I'm going to check this out. After this, a lot of people might be saying, well, can Chainlink hit a new all-time high? It's a very important data point, and that's the number of Chainlink tokens that were circulating in 2021 in April compared to today. We're going to look at that right after this tweet here. Here's a Chainlink God. And smash the likes if you're feeling bullish, by the way, folks. Let's hit that like I'm feeling bullish. Are you feeling bullish? We
Let's
got Army
go.
Piper in the chat. I can't see it just yet. Discover crypto thing, blog it. Can you read it? Oh, wait. I bought 10K in Link on Friday, 2:30 p.m. I bought $10 worth of Link. We are not the same, Army Piper. We're not the same. So good job. Good job. Car for coin. I missed your smooth comments, so I appreciate it. All right, let's look at chainlinkgod.eth here. I need to make sure I follow this guy. So let me go ahead.
He's great.
Yeah, hit follow. Following him. I recommend you do the same. Built upon the foundation set with the VO.1 release last December. 0.02 is the introduction of new staking platform. So staking launching later this year. I've been hearing this rumor for years. At this point, the unbonding mechanism, stakers are not locked in, but rather can initiate and withdraw at any time. So it's not like early ETH where you're locked in for a question mark amount of time. Liquid rewards. You can claim rewards once they become claimable at any time with no penalty. So we're not seeing something similar to, I guess, early days of Hex. Stake slashing. If an alert is raised, node operators will see a portion of their stake slashed. Community stakers won't be slashed in 0.2. Modular architecture, new Oracle services can be added. Dynamic rewards, new sources of rewards like user fees can be added. Priority migration. The 0.1 stakers have a 7-day priority window. So the earlier version wasn't open for everybody. It was open for the insiders. So I never got in. I am going to definitely try to stake on 0.2. And if you're a Link holder, check your eligibility for staking V0.2 today. So check that out. I'll make sure I'll do the same. And hey, depending on how easy it is and how friendly it is, and if it's something that I feel comfortable, maybe, hey, this is what I'm doing, so I feel comfortable sharing this information. Maybe we'll make a video out of it. All right, now the important part, though. Where's Chainlink going to be, with all the coins that are out? Are there 10 times as many coins? Is it 20% extra coins? Let's look at the hard facts here, folks. So this is Chainlink supply release details. This is from Dune. And here you can see, I believe it was April that Chainlink got a new all-time high. So let me go here. We're ranked around 20, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's moving on up. Wow, it's already 13. How the time flies. We hit max. I believe it's April. Let me just check here. So April, May. Okay, so it came in a little bit later. I move it one. Okay, so the first week of April or May here. So we go here, 2021. We go to May. And then interestingly enough, that's exactly when the supply started to increase. So all of a sudden, you started seeing a lot of selling pressure. Why was there selling pressure? More Chainlink tokens were being released, and this is a release schedule. So here, first week, we have 25 million tokens released. 25 million tokens. Well, where are we at today? Let's look. Now, that is a lot more. 156 million. So you see it was 138, 156. That's when it crossed 100, 91, 67. Just quick back of the napkin math. 25, 25. We're going to 150. Okay, so it's 6x. There's 6 times as many Chainlink tokens today, folks. Okay, that's quite the obstacle. That's quite the hurdle. Does that mean Chainlink cannot put in a new all-time high? I'm not going to say that, but I don't think we're going to see a $500 Chainlink. I don't even think we can cross 100, but I think we can definitely flirt around the 90, maybe even 110 level. What are you two guys coming in for your Chainlink price predictions here? Do you have one?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because I do think that the utility of Chainlink is going to actually explode as well. So I don't want to say it's going to make the higher supply less relevant, but I think that with the real world tokenization, developments that happen and the evolution in the just traditional business space moving into crypto, I think is going to really drive a lot of demand for Chainlink. So it's hard to say. We'll pull it up when we're pulling up charts in a second. We'll see a likely area that it could go to at the top of the next.
You got some
market.
levels for us?
We'll do it together.
Wait, are we gonna have these special BitLab indicators on it too?
We got it all.
Oh man, I can't wait. I need the alpha now. TJ, what do you think? I mean, $50, $100. I'm coming in for like 80, 90.
Yeah, I mean, I like your prediction there in that range of 8 to 10x. I think seems solid. I do think market cap can absolutely explode with new the partnerships that they're doing, getting the cross chain stuff happening, getting real world assets on there. I'm glad that they're expanding beyond just an Oracle play. The Chainlink some of the Chainlink stuff that's coming out now is very, very positive. So yeah, I think I do think it'll see a run up, a strong run up with money coming in, but it is going to be, you have to take that circulating supply into account. So 55% circulating right now is much better than it was before, but that's always part of the issue. So understanding the tokenomics of a coin is definitely part of it. And if you try to compare it tit for tat with something like Quant, you'll see some of those differences.
Or even Bitcoin. You look at Bitcoin 2021, it was like 18.7 compared to today is like, what, 19.4. So it's really not that much increase. It's definitely not a 6x in the amount of Bitcoin floating around compared to May of 21. CMG understands Link's tokenomics. Don't worry, Sergey will bring it back down under $10 soon. Woo!
Yeah, exactly.
The Link buy was trade profits this year. So Army Piper putting his profits into a long-term hold, or maybe a longer-term hold compare. All right, well, what does Sergey have to say? Let's, we can quote, Sergey's going to dump on you. That's kind of the theme here. All the value in their systems will eventually be on blockchain. It looks like he's talking about real-world assets. I think we can hear this. All right, testing. Here we go. 48 seconds.
I don't hear it.
I can hear.
I can't.
Realistically, I think they are now starting to realize that all the value in their systems will eventually be on a blockchain. So these initial use cases are things where they're not in any system, and so you might as well put them on this new system if you can. So it's kind of newer things, or things where there's very little fractional ownership, where that has value. I think, though, and I think they're starting to realize this, that all of the value in their systems will eventually be on a blockchain. And they're realizing that these initial asset classes are just the beginning.
These initial asset classes are just the beginning. I think we are going to see, we talk about real world assets. We don't know how much retail will get behind that narrative, but I really do think that a fractional piece of a Picasso is really going to get people excited. Own a part of a Rolex and give it to your grandpa for his birthday. I just don't know how popular it'll get, but I'm guessing pretty popular. Let me just go off the rails here. And Sergey is in this rarefied air. There's something you see with devs, and they're always extremely high in the BMI or extremely low. And he's like the only dev that's in the middle. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Yeah.
He's in the middle.
Yeah, you're like, oh, wait a minute. It's DZ, right? Oh, okay. Anyways, I think it's time for charts with Kelly. We're seeing some pumps. It looks like we're holding 30,776 right now.
Yeah,
Talk us through. I mean, should I go ahead and pop champagne? Is the bull run started?
Well, I think it started, honestly, the full bullish impulse going into this next cycle started in January of this last year. But what people don't expect, people with a bias, they just want it to go up and away. And that's not ever going to happen, and that's not healthy. What we need it to do is work its way up there. And part of that is, and I'm actually going to pull that up on the chart here. I was going to show you Chainlink first, but we'll do that secondarily. Looking here on the chart, this is that area right here, January 2023. If you want to throw the chart up on the screen, we can do that.
Yep. Side computer, 3, 2, 1.
Perfect. So this is that move. This is that FTX collapse. This is when it started moving up. It's not going to just go up and away. We need this. We can't expect just this, and we don't want that to be red. We want that to be green. But this is healthy, what's happening here, and we all have been expecting at some point along the way for this to have some sort of either consolidation or pullback here before we just get launched. And we've gotten that. I'm getting you. Hold on a second. There. I'm not a PC guy. I'm a Mac guy. So here we go.
Return of the Mac.
Return of the Mac. So what we can see here is we're kind of getting that. The scary question about all this is, and Colin Talks Crypto posted this on his, and a lot of people are seeing that there is a possible head and shoulders here, but that doesn't mean that has to play out. Why does it keep doing that?
At what point with the right shoulder being higher than your head do you invalidate? Because that's like
as soon
going higher than the top of the head. And I know
we're very near that zone, and that's essentially right here at the top of this area, 31.6, 31.8. As it stands right now, I feel like there's a lot of questions to be had, because there's a lot of things within the market where we see, like right here, we see the S&P 500 is basically, I don't want to call it a bearish divergence, but traditional assets are pulling back, going risk off, while Bitcoin is pushing up. Now, this is that situation where so many people say, see, this is a hedge against traditional assets. This is a hedge against inflation. But the question is that everybody needs to realize is this going to sustain, or is this a sort of temporary flight only to have a pullback? As it stands right now, I'm quite bullish on this. If we can get above not just 31.8, if we get above 32, but we still have this channel here. We still have this large channel that we're trading in, and we have this big pink red line right here that we need to pay attention to. This is a halving. We still have quite a bit of time coming into this zone that even if we pushed up here, I wouldn't just go all in on leverage with this, because we still more likely than not will have some sell-off into the halving or around this period. So whatever happens right here, I'm watching this zone, basically $32,000. And then, you know, if we do pull back, then I'm watching this 24.8 sort of zone, because if we lose this, then we're likely coming down to the low 20,000s. As it stands right now, I'm very bullish, but very somewhat skeptical, because we also see these momentum waves have been decreasing. We do have a push up here. This is on the 3-day, but if we look at this on the daily, we can see that this is setting up for a rollover on this momentum wave down here on the BitLab trend fuel. This is rolling over, stochastics are rolling over, and this is a lower high on the momentum, which would be a pretty large bearish divergence on this if it were to play out. So I think the move is there to be taken, because if we do push past 32, large short squeeze, and we'll probably move higher fairly quickly. But I'm still a little bit skeptical on this until we break that 32 level. But do you want to see Chainlink?
I need to see some Chainlink. I need Chainlink in my life. People know, yes, I have 3.7. I added, I got 4.2 now, folks. So I'm celebrating.
So here's the deal. We actually broke some big levels, because not only have we been trading sideways this entire time for, let's see, you know what? Darn, PC does not work the same way on TradingView as Mac does. But 524, 530 days, we've been trading sideways essentially.
Long enough, I say.
Long enough was all we needed to do is get up to this large downtrend resistance and test this a couple times. We tested it here, got rejected. Also this downtrend resistance. Tested it again, broke through, came back, found support, which is what we want to see for a breakout, and pushed higher. Now there's two different ways we can measure targets for this, a conservative way and a little bit more macro way. This bull flag right here, if we measure this out, this breakout basically has already accomplished this target. So that's great. Now, what we want to see, if we look here on the essentially inverse head and shoulders, if we measure this area right here from the neckline down to the bottom of the head, that gives us those targets you were just talking about from that article. So between these two zones, basically the 12.5 to $14 is an area that I'm looking for. If we do push up to that we're going to have a little bit of resistance here, because not only is it these targets, it's also all of this choppiness all the way back here to August 2020. So this is going to be a major hurdle getting past the $12 to $13 range, but it's looking good. Things are finally starting to move. Let's stay patient.
Well, real quick before you move on, let's pull up Bitcoin real quick, because I'd be curious to see, while you're doing that, I'd be curious to hear from both of you guys your predictions for the week. Like, we've got some people saying it's going to dump by this weekend. You know, we're moving into a week. We saw some positive momentum over the weekend. Is this a big bull trap, or do you think we're going to continue this rally moving through this week? Any thoughts?
Let you go. Well, let me go ahead and just throw out a guess here. He's looking at the TA. I'm kind of sharing the info right there, looking at it. So the main reason I would say to the downside, I feel like everybody's starting to feel a little too positive.
I agree.
It smells fishy, and I don't like it. So that would be, I would say, you know, it's not like I'm 90% sure we're going to the downside. I'm pretty close to a coin toss. You can go either way, but I'm 60-40 to the downside. What about you, Kelly?
People hate me saying this, but I even with this bullish action, I'm still very hedged in this actually coming back down and testing, you know, 28.7, but 2, I still think that we're going to test down into this, because here on the BitLab volume, look, we're pushing right into a very key area of liquidity. This is a giant order block here that auto populates with this part of the BitLab trading stack. If we get rejection here, it looks like this is just a magnet sucking this into this to capture your liquidity, to send it back down, to then capture liquidity back in this zone before moving up. That's what these markets do. We were talking with Gary Cardone this weekend, and he was just re-emphasizing to us in these markets, we feel like Bitcoin's big. Yeah, compared to a microcap. But Bitcoin is not even a seed compared to some of these other global equities. These markets get pushed around, and they do it so that they can take your liquidity by triggering your emotions. So this is, until we break that 32, this is a liquidity grab setup for me. That's how it looks unless we can break that. So I do think we're going to be testing back down in the 28s. If we can't hold that, then down to that low 25.
All right, yeah, a lot of people think it's going to fail, fall back. I do want to answer one question. Someone said earlier when we were talking about Chainlink, why would someone tokenize something, a real-world asset, on a permissioned blockchain? I think it's going to be a couple of reasons. One is companies are going to push for it because they can monetize it. JP Morgan would love to make an extra 20% selling mortgage-backed securities, right? So just off that, they'll push the product to the people. The second reason, I think with AI, I think counterfeit goods are going to be a more and more prevalent issue, and so blockchain can help solve that. But back to Bitcoin here, 26K. A lot of people are, you know what I keep thinking when I see calls for 26K? There's going to be people who sell their Bitcoin to BlackRock at $25,000, and that just irks me. I don't like it at all.
They're buying it hard right now and accumulating. They've been buying your bags all through 2022 and 2023, and they're really getting into the profit now. Michael Saylor's getting into major profit. So yeah, we need to keep those coins. Don't give it all to BlackRock.
Keep hold on. They can pry from my cold dead hands. Kelly, anything else you want to add?
I mean, look at the housing market. Same thing's happening with the housing market. They're just buying anything that they can. Bitcoin is the next. Think about how large BlackRock is in terms of the largest asset manager in the history of the world. What are they buying? Real estate, and they're setting up to have the top, basically, digital asset product in the space for the Bitcoin spot ETF.
Things with set supply, basically.
Yeah, and they're looking to the future. So anybody out there that is on the fence about it, whether it's a small family office, somebody that is wondering if Bitcoin's valuable, well, look to the leaders and what direction are they moving their assets and their portfolios towards? It's towards making sure that they're capitalizing on, fixed supply things, real estate and Bitcoin. That's it.
Yeah, we got Cars for Coins says, now that we've broken 30K again, a lot of people that missed cheap Bitcoin will buy any dips below 30K. Do you guys think anytime we dip below 30K, we'll see that snapped up?
Yeah, I can see a huge psychological barrier there, because I remember June, July 2021, jumping back in, buying some alts, probably buying some way too expensive Chainlink. You feel like you missed the boat. And I think we're going to see the same thing with Chainlink, any kind of Chainlink that once we go above $10, if it goes down to 972, you're going to have people just rushing in to buy it. So yeah, I would agree, especially since we had that point of control in that heavy period of Bitcoin in June, July 21.
Yeah. And, every day that progresses towards the end of the year and closer to that January, early February timeframe where the ETFs are expected to most likely happen, every day we get closer to that, the less likelihood we're going to get prices basically breaking down, because people are somewhat front running this biggest news in the history of Bitcoin of when those get pushed out, because it's going to be an absolute liquidity event. The question is going to be, I have a question for you, TJ and DZ. Is this going to be an event like it was with the futures ETF, where it marked as sort of local top and there was a buy the rumor, sell the news? Or do you think that this is too large that it will actually sustain with upside price action?
Let me go ahead and say this. We had that BlackRock ETF rumor from Cointelegraph's X, and it was a huge pump. I still think it's going to happen, whether it happens in March, whether it happens in January, whether it happens next Tuesday. I think it is going to happen. I'm just comfortable buying in Bitcoin before that pump happens, because I don't know what it's going to look like. And I don't want to try to predict like, I bought today at 31 and I could have got at 27 and I feel like an idiot. Because when that announcement happens, you might not ever have a chance again until maybe 2027. So just be careful, folks.
I mean, I think it's a good question, asking about the futures. We did see when the Bitcoin futures ETF was approved originally, it actually created a more shorting opportunity and a little bit of a price suppression. I think that's part of what's happening with Ethereum right now. We've got Ethereum futures ETFs out there, but we don't really have a spot one. Big difference between futures and spot. Big difference between actually having to physically custody the Bitcoin and just moving paper contracts around. So I think, yes, seeing these things get approved, it will have a massive impact on the price for Bitcoin. I don't think it will lead to more suppression. However, Ethereum right now, until they get the spot Ethereum one in, which could happen next year, I think could be what you're seeing is people going, especially institutional money, going hard into Bitcoin but using Ethereum as a hedge to kind of balance their risk as they're putting their money into crypto or digital assets.
And that's how it happens at those high levels. They always hedge their bets. You know, they got a $10 billion bet. They'll have some weird leverage $2 billion hedge where, you know, they kind of just even things out. That's the high level.
And just to put that in perspective for people, what, you know, loosely what we're talking about is you put a sizable position into Bitcoin or into crypto digital assets, and you think Bitcoin's going to hit, say you put $10 million, you're basically going long on Bitcoin. Inversely, you could go short on Ethereum to where, hey, if the whole market crashes and Ethereum Bitcoin and Ethereum drop way down, Ethereum dropping will cover my loss from my long Bitcoin position. And that's basically what we're talking about when we say hedge.
All right. Well, speaking of Bitcoin, let's talk about what the analysts are saying here. Bitcoin's move above 30K represents a shift in sentiment, analysts say. It's in its 5th consecutive daily win, setting a fresh 3-month high above 30,900. The shift was further echoed in the options market, where the 25 delta skew was tilted towards bullish territory, a position not observed since January's surge, Cox noted. So, guys, we're in October. So seeing open interest for the future side, for the long side, highest it's been since January is pretty bullish. There seems, I mean, that's 10 months ago we're talking. There seems to be no imminent selling pressure from the long-term holders, despite the 30K price tag, a spokesperson for Crypto Quant told Blockworks. Meanwhile, declining active addresses can point to participants seeking to hold onto the asset rather than utilize it as a medium of exchange or transfer it to exchanges during periods of profit taking. The number of active addresses, when viewed over a 7-day average, has dipped to the lowest point since September 28. What do you guys make of that? The 7-day average for active addresses, lowest it's been in almost a year.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, everybody looks at, looking at the chart right here, this feels like, okay, bull market's fully on. It's just going up, and away. When you zoom out, this has been ranging sideways since March of earlier this year. This is just push up, support, push up, same resistance level, support. Nothing is happening. Nothing for somebody that is smart money that's really trying to dominate in this space. Nothing yet has really happened. We're only just doing liquidity grabs in both directions. So it makes sense that people are getting a little bored right now and not as active.
All right, well, let's talk about the Bitcoin dominance. This is for Tim Warren out there. Bitcoin dominance, its highest point in over 2 years. The dominance in the market has increased to over 49%, marking its highest point in more than 2 years, according to the block. Dominance has experienced a steady rise, moving from 38% at the start of the year to 48%, marking the highest level observed since April 2021. Surge in dominance can be attributed to a year-long rally in Bitcoin, with the cryptocurrency's price surging by 81% since the beginning of the year. Inflation woes, geopolitical risk, and an increasingly partisan U.S. government has been weighing on investors who are looking to minimize risk. Meanwhile, Bitcoin seems closer to ever than getting a spot ETF approval, and in a certain sense serves as an ideological hedge to the uncertainty on the world stage, helping it reclaim more dominance in the crypto space. Me and Tim, a little background, me and Tim have a bet. If it goes to 60%, before it hits 69K, I owe him a steak dinner. Otherwise, he owes me a steak dinner.
And you're measuring it. This is important to note. There are a few different ways to measure dominance. Some people pull altcoins out that will dramatically change the percentage. If you're talking
stablecoins,
that's what I meant. Stablecoins. So right now, I'm looking at least on CoinMarketCap, it's showing 51.6%. So I think total market will probably be 55 to 60. So you're saying you think it'll top out at 60?
I think it'll top out 59 or lower. Right. I don't think it hits 60.
And he's saying 60 or
60
higher?
Or higher.
I think 55 is probably the highest it's going to go because of the massive descending trend line on the dominance. And that would bring us right into 55, which also is there's a large order block in it, which I wouldn't really pay attention to on dominance. But the concerning thing is, if we look at dominance, it did on the 3-day chart. Let's actually go down to the daily. Look at this previous high here. It did break it, came down and tested it and pushed back up. If this forms a lower high, there's confidence for this forms a lower high and breaks back down. That's going to be very strong for the altcoin market. Of course, if this breaks this high, it's going to be sort of flight to Bitcoin focus for the time being. If this does start pushing higher.
How do you guys feel about putting options on stablecoins? I mean, if you have inside info and it's going to depeg, I mean, sure, yeah, you use your info there. My main thesis for the dominance not getting that high is crypto's number 2 value prop. Number 1, it's an escape from inflation. Bitcoin is only going to be 21. That's the number 1 thing. Number 3, NFTs. Well, what's number two? Number two value prop to me is sending money quickly and easily and understandably across the globe in the form of stable coins. I think stable coins is the number two thing that really is keeping crypto alive. That's really going to push it to the next level. As we into a bull market, you're going to see whale chart alert. Tether prints 10 billion. USDC prints 5 billion. Tron, Justin Sun pulled 18 billion out of his you-know-what. As we do that, it's going to be more and more and more. It's just going to be harder for Bitcoin. So yeah, ETH gets a 2% pump relative to Bitcoin's 1.7. And you're like, oh, that changes the dominance a little bit. No, it's going to be those massive Tether billion prints that are going to keep that dominance low. I see more and more stables every cycle.
Yeah, I agree. But the biggest outlier there is going to be the effect of this spot ETF. If institutional money just pours into spot Bitcoin, we could see it do some things that we've never seen it done before. And it is a much different market today than we've seen in cycles past. So again, you hear it said all the time, they're not all this, history doesn't repeat itself. It often rhymes, yada, yada, yada. We've changed the game every time as this market evolves, and so seeing this next evolution through this cycle, it could make us push up to above 60, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Steak dinner on the line. I want that Japanese A5YU, Tim, too. All right, let's talk about DeFi protocols. I think this is kind of a good metric here. 10 DeFi protocols rule over half of the wrapped Bitcoin in circulation. So there's 80,000 individual wallets holding wrapped Bitcoin, pretty high, which is pegged with a 1-to-1 ratio of Bitcoin, as long as everything's working correctly, that is. And the number of tokens is $163,000. And there's been a 12% reduction in the circulating supply, declining from 185 to the 163 that we see today.
Those, just my 2 cents, those people, a lot of the wrapped Bitcoin people are a lot of the whales in the space. And if that's declining, that's probably people selling to spot ETF or exchanges, over-the-counter deals that need a lot of, there's a Bitcoin shortage going on right now.
Why be an Aave when you just have your BlackRock guy call you on the phone? Hey, I got the thing and it's a little bit better.
Somebody needs to buy 10,000 Bitcoin. It's usually those kind of people.
I didn't even, maybe I saw it at the side of my eye here. The largest wallet designated as Aave. That's pretty funny right there.
There you go.
Like I said, Chainlink, number one customer is pretty much like Aave, I think. It's way up there. The Elite 20 addresses hold 60%. 10% having 50. Guys, it's not 2. It's not Lido, DAO, and one other guy has 50%. It's not F2 Pull and Foundry have 50% of the Bitcoin. 10 having 50%, I'd say that's sufficiently decentralized. That's my 2 cents, at least. Sure, it could be better, but that statement literally fits to any scenario in the history of mankind. It could be better. It's just a dumb thing to say, so don't ever say it.
Wrapped Bitcoin has a larger market cap just itself than the majority of the altcoins out there. It's over $5 billion just in wrapped Bitcoin.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, this quite up there, 4.8. All right, a Bitcoin developer discovered a security vulnerability in the Lightning Network.
This was big.
Jack Mahler was seen in tears afterward. Bitcoin often, we like Jack Mahler. I'm just kind of joking. He's emotional, that's all. Bitcoin, high estrogen. Anyways, Bitcoin, often hailed as the future of finance, has encountered a significant setback. Its top developers recently uncovered a colossal security risk within the Lightning Network. This is basically just to make faster Bitcoin transactions, a higher number of Bitcoin transactions. Splicing explained in 4 slides there. The shocking development here. The existence of potential security vulnerabilities that could be exploited by malicious actors appear to be intentional backdoors within the code. As a result, this can give unauthorized users the ability to gain control of the network. Whale Chart is a suspicious account here, so just be careful. They'll often just kind of report rumors. Top Bitcoin developers recently discovered massive risk. He claims there's intentional backdoors that allow attackers to get full control of the network. This triggered him to announce his departure from the project.
Hey, this is a big deal, though, because
very big deal.
Considering everything that's gone on with FTX and what's come out in all those proceedings, backdoors on any sort of asset in the crypto space is going to be a hot button issue, because it should be. These things are supposed to be transparent and immutable. So if we're having backdoors, then how do you trust? If one of these fails, for instance, Lightning, then you start shaking confidence in the space, especially when you have institutions right on the doorstep.
Here's an interesting question. Yeah, I'm with that. That's a lot of. I'm going to stay away from it. Let me just say that.
What's that?
If true, I'm staying away from Lightning. Here we have a good question, though. I got distracted. If the U.S. dollar crashes since stables are pegged to the dollar, wouldn't they go to shit as well? As because where I want to store profits. Well, no, because it's still just going to be a dollar. The pain goes when if you try to spend your stable coins buying a gallon of milk, but if it was just parked in dollars, there is no difference there. So, I mean, if anything, yeah, it'd be better if it was in Bitcoin if that's happening, but we're in stable just to be relatively stable. Bitcoin's never reached previous all-time highs prior to having, it won't again. Crypto's overcovered post-halving. Yeah. We are definitely not saying a new all-time high in the next 6 months. New all-time high would be closer to 16 months, not 6 months from now. If the dollar crashes, stablecoins will be the least of our worries.
16 months? You say? I would say it's closer to 12. I mean, okay, 12 to 14 maybe. Yeah.
If you go by the 3-year, 10-month cycle, November, that would mean it's a September 2025, and that would be close to 20 months, actually.
Well, that's the top. We're not you're talking about breaking 69K. That should...
Oh, yeah, new all-time high. So, yeah, that would be, what, January 2020?
Pull up this chart. This is a spiral chart from the Rational
So,
Root.
yeah, you're right. TJ, it's closer to 12.
This shows you. These are the halvings. This is the first halving, second halving, third halving. And when you get these dark blue dots, you always get these dark blue dots, which are the all-time highs post-halving. You see all the way coming around. Then here's the halving. We don't have any dark blue dots between this. This is the market cycle low, red dot. No all-time highs. And then post-halving, all-time high, all-time high, all-time high, all the way till you get the market cycle low, no blue dots. And then post-halving, blue dots again, all-time high. It happens post-halving because there's these markets, when you get mad at whales for manipulating or smart money for manipulating, they're buying and selling so they can make money in this market just like you are. We can't be mad at that. All we can do is protect ourselves and understand that there's going to be a liquidity push for buy the rumor, in this case, this thing that everybody knows about, the halving. They're going to try liquidity grab you, get you that FOMO, get your liquidity sort of committed to the chart. Then they reverse it the other way, so you capitulate, so that then they can buy lower. So I don't want to say count on it, but look at the historical cycles. That's what's happened. So that's what you could prepare for until otherwise.
Liquidity grab you. You know what really makes the whales mad?
Grab you by the liquidity.
I was going to say offshore drilling, but that as well. Speaking of Bitcoin whales, let's talk about Michael Saylor, folks. The biggest Bitcoin Chad and all the S&P 500. Bitcoin recent rally pushes MicroStrategy into over $110 million in paper profit. They're finally in the green, folks. So its investment is now in the green, boasting over $100 million in unrealized profits after it jumped above 30K earlier today. Data shows that they've acquired 158,000 Bitcoin at an aggregate price of $4.8 billion or $29,000 per coin. So anytime it's above 29,800, he's in the profit. So with it just at 30,400, he's at 4.8 billion. We're at 30,700, so now he's probably above 5 billion. So it's looking pretty good here. Let's see, Bitcoin versus traditional assets source. Maybe double check the data there. It's Michael Saylor as the source there. Meanwhile, the stock is performing well, rising by 1.62%, according to TradingView data. It's recording an impressive year-to-date increase of 138%. Market analysts view this reaction as a clear indication of investor optimism for an ETF approval. According to insights from Matrixport, the value could surpass 50K if the SEC approves an ETF application there. A lot of people, think the new will reach 70K around November of next year. A lot of people saying November. I'm kind of coming in around that level, November, December. I think just traditionally, Bitcoin likes to pump at the tail end of the year. I don't know why.
It's some reason the Thanksgiving after the halving usually tends to be, Thanksgiving conversations usually always tend to be dramatic one way or the other. Whether it's up or down.
And honestly, on some level, I think it is like literally just a percolating event from Thanksgiving dinners where you have Fox Business News and MSNBC, and they have producers that are making all these shows, making all these segments, and you got, let's just throw out a number, 2,000 TV show producers in America. Of those, how many had that annoying nephew, cousin, brother, crazy uncle, just wouldn't shut up about Bitcoin? Some number of those are going to be like, I don't know what segment to do on Tuesday. I guess Bitcoin. That has a positive effect. We're going to see more and more coverage. Bitcoin ride or dies of Google trend searches. For whatever reason, it just does. So we want to, let's just be that annoying person this Thanksgiving. What are we, about 5 weeks away? What are y'all's Thanksgiving plans?
I can spend it with the family here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're gonna actually do something here at the office. So we're gonna have, we have a lot of people that work here that are from out of town. They don't necessarily have local family. Some people go home, but for anybody who doesn't, we're gonna have a little thing here, just hang out and play some games and have a good time.
I do not predict 100K by November 24. I say we might hit 70 November, December 2024. Might. I'm still close to, maybe it takes a couple months. I don't know. So he was doing when he was buying Bitcoin at any price. He certainly feels like he knows what he's doing. I mean, Bitcoin is Manhattan granite. Don't we all know that?
Well, look at this tweet from Dylan LeClaire.
Yeah, let's
For everybody,
pulling it up now.
Everybody that wonders, this is dollar cost averaging. This is essentially
I like this.
what Mike, I almost said Michael Sinclair, Michael Saylor does. He dollar cost averages. He's not worried about the TA on the charts. When he gets the capital and he's able to get it in the market. This is from the top in 2021. If you dollar cost average since then, you'd be up 16% on Bitcoin. This also considers buying into the consistent drops, and you're like, oh, I made a stupid decision. When you're DCAing, you're not worried about that. You're getting the average price over time. You'd be up 16% on Bitcoin. You'd only be up 8% on gold, and you'd only be up 1% if you were on a traditional asset. So over time, Bitcoin has proven in almost every chart you could do. Literally every chart you could do comparatively with traditional assets and the dollar. It is the best asset looking to the future. And so get involved, man.
Yeah, but when you compare it to my chart of Pepe, Doge, Elon, Mars, Moon, like my coin's outperforming. So, I'm just saying.
For now.
Yeah, that is cherry pick data. I mean, yeah, do November 21 to November 22, those same three things. It's going to look a little bit different. All right. I'm the annoying uncle that won't shut up about Bitcoin. Hit that like button if you're the annoying family member. Let's really get those likes up. Have we got the triple digits yet?
Oh yeah. We're pushing 200 right now. So we got about
let's get it above that.
680 people in here. Let's get it to 200 likes easy. That should be no problem.
All right. Well, speaking of triple digits, let's talk about triple commas here. $18.5 billion in U.S. Treasury sold by this BRICS trio of China, India, and Brazil in 1 month. TJ, after the show, remind me, I know the war to end all wars. Just remind me after the show. I can't say it online,
okay.
But maybe a basement episode, folks. Maybe a Drew video. It's interesting data. All right. Hey, all the more reason to join the basement today. New numbers from the Treasury Department show China's ownership of Treasury securities plunged. This is where some of the language is odd. Plunged from 821 to 805 in August, a decrease of about 16 billion, which is semi-significant here.
Yeah, I saw some stuff. I believe it was Thursday or Friday. The biggest sell-off of treasuries since the UK back when the pound, right before the pound collapsed. So largest amount of sell-off of one nation's long-term treasuries since that happened. So that to me was notable.
Yeah, that was right around the Brexit area.
No,
right?
I'm talking like it was before the 1900s, I believe. It was like late 1800s.
Oh, you're going like way old school.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about like the sterling pound, like when they removed sterling silver from it, or maybe.
I believe that's
probably
what it was. Yeah.
All right. Well, new numbers. So we have China 821 to 805.
But hold on. Now that I'm thinking about it, it probably wasn't adjusted for inflation. So that you guys should probably take that into account too. So, billions of dollars then is different than billions of dollars now. So.
Yeah, Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Inu, much better than Bitcoin. Robert Vermouth knows. Then we have India. They went from 227 to 223. Why did they say 1.5, 24? That's not how that math works out. And then 233 to 2. Okay, that's the 1.5. India, Brazil. Okay, so they just mixed that up. So the BRICS trio sold $18.5 billion worth of treasury securities here. China consistently sold off since it's peaked in March at 869. Last week, the Kobayashi report reported that China appears to be heading for a recession as the real estate index dropped 85% from its high. We don't really know like they always say, the smartest people, I don't say this, maybe I'll regurgitate it. The smartest people say the hardest thing to predict is macro. Well, what's harder to predict than Chinese macro? Because you think our U.S. government officials massage the data and, maybe give us some cherry-picked nuggets here and there. What do you think China's doing? It's probably, 10x, 3x the manipulation of data there. So I don't know. Maybe Xi Jinping is going to maneuver their way out of there.
I mean, I think what we're seeing is this is the result of economic warfare that we've been, whether it's currency wars or trade wars or whatever you want to call it, this has been going on I mean, it really ramped up in 2019 through December 2019, but it's been going on for quite some time. So seeing massive sell-offs like this isn't necessarily a huge surprise. We've been printing a lot of dollars. They've been printing a lot of their currency. We both hold a lot of each other's debt, so it's a matter of who can print more faster. And it results in some crazy market manipulation and a lot of the uncertainty that we're seeing in the world today.
I want to bring up a Pat Buchanan quote here. I can't find it because I guess he also says something about the recent conflict. So it's kind of taking up the trend here. Pat Buchanan, half-crazed Davy Crockett running around the parapets of Nixon's Alamo. That's pretty funny. He had a interesting theory. It got resurrected. It's from a 1999 speech. I think David Sachs is the one resurrecting it. Maybe that's a long-form thing I'll work on here. But his basic thesis statement, every empire from 1900 to 2000, they all fell for the same reason. They started wars. And so just something to think about there as we involve ourselves in multiple conflicts there. So just want to bring up the old Pat Buchanan quote there. All right, very, very controversial politician there as well. All right, let's do a little BRICS here. We got the BRICS here. All right, so also European Central Bank moves forward on a CBDC project after concluding its 2-year research phase. Say they decided to move on to the next phase of the digital euro project. The governing councils decided to move into the next phase in November. All right, so 1 month. They're going to start laying the foundation for the possible issuance of a digital euro. Decision on issuing it will come at a later stage. So they're going to say, this is the plan. If we're going to do it, this is what it's going to look like. Kind of like O.J. Simpson's book. I didn't murder them, but if I did, this is how I would have done it. Always an odd book for him to write. Digital euro in 2 years after the preparation stage, which is due to be finalized at the end of 2025, folks. So this isn't going to be tomorrow. The ECB will decide whether to move forward with actually issuing a CBDC. Spoiler alert. They're going to. They are going to. It's just, I guess, choosing the winners. I guess if I really wanted to be cynical, they want to choose the winners. They want to choose the favorable banks, and they want to make sure that the right politicians are on the right boards, if I had to guess. And then at the end of the day, they're all going to use Chainlink because they don't have a choice.
Well, let me ask you a question. If we're looking at trends when we're looking at these markets to determine where price is going, then let's do the same thing for the digital world, how things are becoming digitized and being integrated in that. Is the trend over the last 15 years going more digital or less?
Well,
I mean, how could the CBDC not be something that's going to come? I mean, if we look at a macro scale, it's imminent. It's whether it's in the next month or 5 years, it is absolutely happening. And that's also within the crypto ecosystem. Even if you hate CBDCs, then why not also position yourself to take advantage of some of that, looking at stuff like XRP and Quant and other things that are going to be the rails for those things.
People love Quant in the chat too. I am a Quant holder. I like Quant as well. Almost spilled my water everywhere. That would have been bad. So Quant, I like Quant. You like Quant?
I love Quant.
TJ, do you like Quant?
I do like Quant.
All right, there it's settled. We like Quant, folks. It's just, it's a lower cap coin, and not that many people heard about it, but we have the smartest audience, so you guys know it a lot. So maybe we'll work on a Quant thing or something in the long run.
I mean, it's a competitor in the similar space to Chainlink. It's a little bit different, but technology-wise, but I do think it's definitely worth talking about. They're making moves, that's for sure.
All right, shake and bake. Speaking of moves, they like the OJ reference. Was that one of his moves he did on the field?
Shake and bake.
I can think of some other moves he did off the field, but we're not going to get into that. Let's talk about the Chamber of Digital Commerce. Files a motion to dismiss the SEC case against Binance, likens it to suing grocery store. This isn't, the amicus curiae, I believe. This isn't, just random holders of B&B coin. No. U.S. Chamber of Digital Commerce. So now we have them fighting against the SEC. Just more proof Gary Gensler is as unpopular as he's ever been. So yeah, it's the amicus brief filed on October 19th. Thank you, XRP, for... I feel like I have a law degree at this point. All right, let's talk about, quite the exit. 44 million, $44 billion exits Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, and BNY Mellon in 3 months as deposit flight refuses to relent. So according to Bank of America's most recently quarterly earnings press release, the average depositors fell from 1 trillion to 980 billion, a reduction of about 26 billion in 3 months. BNY Mellon is also down. Morgan Stanley is down. So all three are down. And also, not only that, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Citi are also seeing deposit outflows from Q2 to Q3. And they're reportedly shelling out billions of dollars to keep customers from moving their funds. I heard you get a new toaster if you sign up for a new account at Citigroup. Wells Fargo is giving you 2 skis. Citigroup's interest expense amounted to $21 billion last quarter, a jump of about $185 billion. So their interest expense.
This is not the only front that they're fighting a war on in terms of to keep it.
What do you mean by
the
that?
banks, the
banks.
traditional banking system. They're you know, Gary Cardone calls it death of 1,000 cuts. You know, they're struggling to stay afloat because of this continued pressure from the interest rates, as well as a flight of deposits coming, you know, money coming out. What do we do when we're trading and we're looking at the money flow on an asset? If the money flow is coming out, we're not looking at it in a bullish light. So bullish light. If money flow is coming out of traditional banks and they're become more actively unable to sustain their business because the interest rates, they're getting tightening credit situations. The report you talked about earlier, you know, fleeting, if that, basically deposits and savings. Where's this capital coming from? You know, where's the capital coming from if we're expecting markets to go up? Now the question is, and this is talked about it on the BitLab show this morning, when is that full decoupling and the sustained decoupling going to happen with Bitcoin and traditional assets and the traditional finance sort of sector, where Bitcoin actually does become the full flight to safety and people stop moving in and out from between that and traditional markets? I do think it still has some time to go, but man, is this foundation getting set. And for every one of you watching right now, hit the like for yourself because you're involved in this crypto market.
You are involved. Jeremiah wants to exit algo. I'm sorry. I too am down in my algo. I don't know if we're at an all-time low, but it feels like every day is a new day where 100% of the holders are at a loss.
Yeah, I mean, they announced a rebrand recently, which isn't necessarily a great look. It's probably not going to help the price in the short term. We'll have to see what they roll out with. I got out of it around the time they were getting involved with the Clintons, and I heard they were trying to move to being basically venture capital instead of you know, an actual protocol project. So we'll see what they roll out with their rebrand, but yeah, one to watch.
They're going to rebrand as Gary Gensler led algo here. Is Bitcoin going to crash this week? Poll in the chat. Make sure you participate. Let's talk about ETH here. Ethereum ETF frenzy, the 5th filing and its impact on the price. So it's fueling a 2.3% price surge. I would say a lot of that is Bitcoin's pump as well. So interesting document came to light. It's Invesco and Galaxy. They made some updates to their spot Ethereum ETF. The latest filing was executed through the SIBO exchange, marketed as the 5th live ETH ETF application. I would say the main takeaway here is there's now some updates, and the updates are signaling potentially communication between these organizations and the SEC. They communicate and say, oh yeah, well, you said this and we want this for your surveillance partner agreement. And could you just clarify this one thing on the custody? And they're like, oh, okay. Here you go. So I take it as a positive sign. And the bear scenario here, they're, you know, maybe the SEC didn't say anything, but they're learning from the Bitcoin ETFs. Oh, this is what they want. They don't want this. They want it this way. And so it's all these things are increasing the odds. We see an ETH ETF get launched here. All right, well, a new EIP aims to revamp the tokenized vault standard for real-world assets. It's EIP 7540, and if it happens, protocols that have an asynchronous workflow can benefit from yield-bearing vaults. We don't want to get too stuck into the weeds here. This isn't a Solidity channel, but this EIP is just going to be another huge shift for RWAs. Think of what EIP, I'm blanking on the name, 720. No, the NFT one. EIP.
It was either the standard was either 721 or 1155.
1155, 721. Yeah, I'm blanking on which of those two. Someone in the chat. We have the smartest chat here, so the chat's going to figure it out. But yeah, it's just look, once this happens, sure, maybe there needs to be 1 or 2 extra ones, but eventually it's going to be super easy. Oh, I have the iPhone with Flappy Bird on it. You know, it's tokenized. It's a real world asset. Then I can sell it on Binance / garage sale. I don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but
yeah,
you know.
and I would say when you're thinking about real world assets, you know, we live in a retail world, a consumer based world. We think of consumer based assets, but this is going to apply first and foremost to large institutions, people that hold, again, massive real estate portfolios. That's what they're talking about with real world assets, massive treasuries and, you know, other things that exist in the real world that hedge funds and institutional holders and custodians are already
there's
managing.
weird things that they sell. This could be 40,000 car loans.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'll sell it to Kelly.
There you go.
You know, and it'll fluctuate every day with, you know, interest rates.
A
And
lot
everything.
a lot of things that they roll up and sell to each other.
Yeah, it's not going to be, me and you, we're going to be talking about the Charizard foil. You know, we're going to talk about, I can own 1/1000th of a Rembrandt. Oh, this Rolex. But yeah, the real volume is going to come from probably real estate primarily. And I can see a lot of Forex happening on there as well. All right, let's talk about the ETH killer here. ETH killer Solana. Solana records a 420% inflow surge during a crazy 38% price rally. So let's just look at some of the numbers here. So wait a minute, is it really $31 right now? I didn't even look at the price here. Where is Solana? Kelly, do you have Solana? I have Solana. TJ has Solana. Chat, do you have Solana?
I don't
Okay,
have
now it's back
Solana,
down.
but I would be interested in getting into it at some point, but not yet. I have to pick, like everybody should. We need to pick when we're scaling in to an asset, and right now that's not on my list for immediate, but definitely going into this next bull run for sure.
Yeah, so we have cooled off. We're back down to 29-ish, but yeah, look at that. It was briefly touching above $31 right there. A level unseen since mid-July when it briefly touched $33. What sets this rally apart was the influx of investment of Solana-oriented products. Looks like Solana-related ETP skyrocketed 420%, marked a stark contrast, which are seeing outflows. So this is increasing my desire to hold more Solana. It's not like I think it's a good thing when a chain shuts down, but it is fast. There are a lot of strong builders on there, and VCs like the coin.
Yeah. And what did you guys think about that Solana video? Did we put it out on Friday or Saturday? Did it go
Friday,
out?
I think.
Friday, yeah. If you guys didn't get a chance to check that out, you should. It's kind of the roadmap of what they've got in the works coming up for this next bull market. It got me, they've got a lot of really big plans in place. They got a little, so it'll be very interesting to see if they can pull it off. It made me a lot more bullish on Solana. Like I said, I hadn't gotten out yet. I do think they could, I think it got oversold on the SBF FTX news.
Yep.
There's still a lot of big people behind it that could move that price up in a major way. But if you haven't had a chance to check that video out, be sure to, because it definitely made me a lot more bullish.
NFT, what is it? Boosted. Sol is the VC dumping pool. Well, let's assume that is true. If it is a VC dumping pool and the VC, they just can't wait to dump all the Solana. Do you think they want to dump at $30 today, or do they want to dump at a potentially higher price 12 months from now, 16 months from now, 18 months from now? I think they'd much rather sell 12 months from now, 18 months from now. So I'm comfortable holding it, even if I know VCs are waiting to dump. Well, that means they plan to sell at a certain price point. I'll just try to do my best to match their price point.
If VCs want to dump, that also means they want to pump.
And that's a much better way. Yeah, VCs want to dump, that means they want to pump.
And they've got a very strong narrative to use, and they know it's speculation based. So again, speculation is part of the game when you're moving into a bull market. So you need to find niches and narratives that actually can get people's attention and run. And I think Solana has a chance.
People got burned on algo, so they're hating on Solana. I mean, I think two things could be separate. I think you could dislike Solana for certain reasons and dislike algo without ever holding it and, be validated there.
It's true, but that is the psychology is big. People get burned on projects and then they make them hate all of crypto. And that's what you don't want. You don't want to be that. I know you guys here in the chat aren't like that, but a lot of times people get involved, they buy a lot of altcoins, especially if you got involved anytime from late 21 until now, you're probably, in the red. Because it dropped all of 2022 and then went sideways for most of 23, and we're just now starting to really get some good positive momentum, unless you truly bought the bottom there in November. But people buy altcoins, they get burned, and then they don't come back until a lot of those things have already pumped again. They get burned again. So just make sure you don't do that.
Eric, can I dislike both? I'll allow it. All right, let's talk about total value locked on Solana. Then we'll move forward to talk about this coin that's pumped after 99% was burned. The total value lock reached a new yearly high amidst its impressive price rally. So this kind of just further propels our VC theory here. If VC does want to dump, that means VC does want to pump. And if VC does want to pump, the easiest metric for them to game is total value locked. You're like, all right, let me just pull this off of Aave and I'll slap $150 million on here. Or you have like two brothers pretend they're 14 people. I don't think that's the case here, though. That's not the case here. That could happen on any coin. It's not just a Solana thing, folks. All right, now it's time to talk about this coin that has had its heyday, so to say.
Do you guys know much about this one?
That was bad.
No.
No.
All right, so this is the first coin that was ever on Uniswap. I haven't done a deep dive, so we're going to read this together. Haycoin surges after Uniswap creator Hayden Adams burns near total supply of a test coin. 99.9% of the coin he burnt. This is a test coin he launched in 2018. After feeling uncomfortable owning nearly all the supply. After the burn, the price spiked 307% to $2.5 million.
Real quick.
Token price.
Yeah, I'd say be careful with this. This is definitely getting pumped by the meme coin influencer community right now. And that's part of why he came out and made the statement and burned a lot of the stuff, because this started happening. He's like, I have no idea why people are speculating on this thing. You can get into more of the story, but I just want to put the disclaimer. Don't run out and buy this right now. Be very careful with this. People are speculating with it. There is volume, but there's really nothing there other than that. So just keep that in mind.
What's there to sustain it? That's
Nothing.
the question you should be asking.
Right, and that's basically what he says.
Person with a bunch of followers tweeting about it. That's what's going to sustain. Let's look at the history here. Adam described on social media how he deployed it before the V1 Uniswap launch for testing purposes. After the launch, I created a small test liquidity pool and left the remainder in my wallet. Also used it as a test migration contract from V1 to V2. Over the few years, a few people noticed it and bought it as a joke for the novelty of it. Was extremely surprised to see people buying and selling significant dollar amounts, treating it like a meme coin. Crypto can be weird sometimes. He said he would have no future involvement, having burned his entire supply. He said speculating on it would be silly. I think he probably has a whole lot of money. If you helped launch Uniswap, you're probably a crypto OG and you probably got some secret stashes of ETH and Bitcoin and whatnot. I think he said, you know what, I can make, $1 million, $10 million, $500,000. Is that worth his reputation? So he said no, and he just burnt it all.
I'm pretty sure it was like $80 billion is what his wallet was showing. Obviously,
what do you think he makes, though?
Well, I'm just saying you can't obviously sell it. It's a liquid supply, But if he's holding 99% of the supply, and then all of a sudden people started speculating on it, it's going to make that wallet go up dramatically. So he just was saying, like, look, I'm getting far away. Basically, he's got enough attention on him already, being one of the creators of Uniswap. He does not want to be involved in something like, hey, you created this thing and now you're profiting on it. It looks
What's its
dicey.
ticker?
Hey, I think is what it is.
Yeah, HAY.
Because I mean, it's massive sell off.
Yeah, well, probably when he came out and made that same. Yeah, there it is. Woo! So look, you can see the green candle there is when people, some people first started pumping it, and you'd see it. Oh, go back. Now I can't see that. Yeah.
What are you trying to see?
Like that
the
green pump
Oh.
back here. Yeah. See, this is when people started pumping it and talking about it, and you got a lot of different people, I think on X mostly, that were
7,000.
pushing that. Oop. So many buttons. And then he came out and made that statement, and immediately, it started kind of correcting, you could say.
Yeah. No future involvement ever with the coin. I would sell it, that's for sure. All right, let's talk about Uniswap here. Uniswap introduces new fees. I think they say freaking. I freaking hate this, says a crypto analyst. Prominent DeFi protocol found themselves as a heated debate here, revolved around them maintaining the front end of the platform, introducing fees on trading certain token pairs. Managing partner Dragonfly said, I effing hate this. And then as a result, they've expected to generate annualized revenue of $30 million with these fees. So the real question is, what are they going to do with $30 million? Most crypto degens, they probably just want to say, do a buyback. I don't think that would move the price too much. So I'd rather have them build on the protocol. Do some hire a bunch of people. All right, SEC. Woo, I'm liking these odds, folks. What are their odds of success against Ripple, according to the lawyers? 3 to 14%.
Nice.
High almost. So Ripple's already dismissed charges against the two executives, Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse, while the retail sale also went against the regulator here. Morgan, this is Bill Morgan, in a post on X, argued there's no obvious appellable error other than in Ripple's favor regarding the ODL on-demand liquidity sales, which don't meet at least two prongs of the Howey test, while adding there's a very slim chance of about 3% for their success in getting an appeal against Ripple. So The data suggests, or if we go here, prediction comes in response to another statistic shared by Jeremy Hogan, shared the government data on the rate of success in appeals with different types of lawsuits. This data suggests a 14.2% chance of winning. So you got one expert saying 3%, one expert saying 14.2%. I say, is it time to back up the truck on XRP? Because when they do get the final victory, do you think it will be a doubling? What do you think? I don't know if it'll be a doubling. I feel like a little bit of the air is out of the balloon that says when XRP wins, oh my God, huge victory. Well, with that, like that semi win, that balloon deflated a little bit. Now, I don't know if it means it can't double again. I think a lot of it's going to depend on just the market as well. If we go to XRP's price right now, XRP went from basically 45 cents to 90 cents. Right now, it's 53 cents. I'm going to say it's going to shoot up to 80 cents. What do you two say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think look where to go. Looking at the XRP chart, I mean, even going up to the previous high is about a 60% push. I think we're going to have some trouble at that zone, which is right about 83, 85 cents. I think once we break free of that, I think price action will really start moving to the upside. But we still have, I hate to, we got to look at both sides. We still have this potential sort of semi head and shoulders kind of esque sort of deal. Now, I wouldn't think that this is going to be breaking down all the way down into the 18s or 20s. I think if we do break down 35 cents, between 35 and 40 cents, I think it will be the reload zone if we break down. But I think the case is just getting stronger for XRP. So I think, just slow DCAing over time. You don't need to throw it all in one go. Because we keep seeing these liquidity pumps to the upside and downside. DCA now between now and 2 or 3 months after the halving, and I think you'll probably be doing pretty well.
Eric Carlson, good comment here. Is XRP from Ireland? Because my bag is Dublin. That was good.
Now, I feel like XRP is a tough one because there's so much politics involved with it. Like they definitely had a big first mover advantage. They definitely have, Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson. They know about this space. They are trying to solve a real world problem. The problem is they're dealing with a legacy system that's been around for a long time. So it's just a matter of if they can break through that barrier or not. Getting a win with the SEC is a huge win, and it is a huge breakthrough towards getting into a seat at that table. If they do it, it will pay off big. If they don't, it will kind of continue, I think, on the trajectory that we've seen it over the past
But TJ,
years.
let me ask you, for anybody watching, I've brought this up before. How would you contextualize when they say, didn't XRP already win? Where are we really at?
Where are we at right now? Currently, I believe is they dropped a case, which does give them an ability to maybe reappeal or recome at it. They've won, I think, most of the big legal proceedings. I think there's some like penalties, things that need to get sorted out right now. So yeah, they've made it through. That's what I'm saying. That's a big win for them, but there's still a long road ahead when it comes to implementing everything with Swift that they're talking about and getting central banks and money around the world using Ripple and Ripple products and implementing that with the XRP L or XRP ledger.
And they still don't want the sales to institutional investors to be ruled as security. So they still want to fight that and maybe have the judge rule in their favor. All right, it's time for the X minute, and go ahead and hit that like button, folks, since we're coming to the tail end of the show. I do like, is this some sort of like power meter?
It shows how far into the show we are. So like,
I like it.
For example, look, see how that's when we're at the first topic.
Yeah. So like when I start, like I don't have much coffee in me. I'm kind of like after you hit somebody a whole lot in Street Fighter or you got the fatality on Mortal Kombat. I'm like, but then the caffeine starts kicking, and then I got those polycule little sprinkles in there. Those polycule sprinkles, I sprinkle my donut with something special, folks. That's all I'm going to say. Woohoo! All right. Let's do the X minute. I'm going to do it like this the whole time. All right. Let's start with this. I thought it was pretty interesting. Just kind of bringing up the environment of late 2021. FaZe intended to go public at $1 billion valuation late 2021. Today, sold for $17 million. Unmitigated and completely deserved disaster. Good work, everybody. That guy's always got the hot gaming takes. This, I just thought, I'm biased here. I like Team Vivek. I thought this was just a really good moment. Ron DeSantis, Super PAC, sends this young man as a tracker to his events to take videos with the goal of capturing negative comments to feed to their influencers. I've actually gotten to know him. He's a good kid and a hard worker too, which I respect. A good hire. So I just thought the positivity of he's embracing his enemy. Maybe there's an element of that we could take. I'm not going to hug Gary Gensler, but maybe there's something to be learned from that.
Did you see the post where he was doing a speech somewhere on his campaign trail, and somebody was outside the
yeah, he brought him in.
Yeah, he's like, he has something to say. Let's bring him in. He invited the guy in, and he was like, what? Yeah, let's hear everybody.
Yeah, the way you beat bad ideas isn't censoring them. It isn't silencing. It's debate. It's, presenting a better idea against what you consider a bad idea. How much are you selling the house for? I'm not. I'm going to keep it forever. Circle and Tether like Federal Reserve. Going to be Bitcoin's demise. No, because they can't print out of thin air. They have to actually obtain the money that is printed out of thin air.
They're printing Stablecoins, and they have to take dollars to do it. They're not printing Bitcoin, so big difference.
Yeah. All right. We have a bunker release. I highly recommend you check it out. Drew's been doing a great job. So go watch that video. We'll go watch that. Go watch the Solana one. I got a short on this upcoming token unlock, so I'm not going to go into the dates. So keep an eye out for a short to come out probably next 2 hours or so. And then I'm going to end with this. Is today the day the Wall Street Journal admits they overstated the Bitcoin terrorist financing figures by 200x and committed journalistic malpractice? Let's find out. I'm not trying to talk about any kind of take on what's happening overseas. I just want to point out this figure. Crypto is under attack. All right, there is a war going on, and it's the fiat system against Bitcoin. And this is just a clear indication that they're not going to they're going to resort to anything. They're going to lie, they're going to cheat, they're going to steal. They're going to champion bad actors like SBF. And it's our job to do our due diligence, keep our eye on the prize. I'm still a believer in the 4-year cycle. I still think we're all going to have a really, really good exit in the next 18 months. I'm here to do that, better my life. I want to better your life. I want to better Kelly's life. TJ, his life's pretty good already. If it gets any better, he's going to be walking on air. That's all I got to say. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep alert. Watch out. I got a big expose on BlackRock coming out, hopefully within the next week. BlackRock, Bitcoin, the untold history, how they're trying to manipulate it. We're going to keep our eye on all these bad actors. Hit that like button. Easy out. That's all I got.